There aren't many tech companies with the size and scope of Nvidia. Its graphics processors are used by some of the world's biggest companies, not to mention gamers and crypto miners the world over. It's now well positioned to benefit from the growing AI boom. And we're going to be all over today's call. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Joining us for After the Call this evening, the one and only Dan Howley. Dan, what are you going to be watching for?
Basically, everything you just said. I mean, look, it's a company with two main businesses at this point. They're trying to expand further into automotive, into robotics, professional visual computing. But really, it's about that data center. It's about the gaming. And I think, we're going to once again see a disappointing quarter as far as the gaming side of things goes. It's tough to really call it, a complete negative for Nvidia in that sense, though. Last quarter, we saw a 51% decline year over year in gaming revenue. And the reason for that is the same thing we've been saying about Intel and other chip makers, as well as game companies, that people went out, they bought their systems to run games, and now they don't necessarily need to upgrade right away. And I think that's something that we're going to continue to see. However, if you take out the pandemic era and you go from Q4 2019, which for whatever reason Nvidia decides to call 2020, their fiscal calendar is just all sorts of out of whack. Don't even try to figure it out. The gaming revenue then was $1.5 billion. What we're expecting in this quarter is $1.6 billion. So it's still up from pre-pandemic slightly, but it's not, it's not going to touch that enormous boost that we saw during the pandemic. Now, on the flip side, revenue is expected to rise year over year to decline from 7.64 billion to 6 billion. But the data center revenue is expected to rise, and that, I think, is where the most important action is. That's where the company really has seen, the majority of investors lean in. They're not looking at games. Some are. The majority, though, are looking at the AI side of things. And so they've seen that revenue just go absolutely bonkers from $954 million in Q4 2019 to what's expected to be $3.87 billion this quarter. So, it's a huge jump for them. The Chat GPT stuff, the Bing stuff, the Google Bard stuff, that's all just kind of fuel for the fire.
That's all data
for
center.
AI.
That's sort of in data center because the AI needs to learn.
Exactly.
That's what makes it do what it does. So it needs all that data processing.
And it can't use regular CPUs from Intel or anything like that. It needs GPUs because they're so good at handling such massive amounts of processing.
Yeah, definitely. And then we'll be watching the auto revenue, for example, as well, even though it's a lot smaller than the other areas. And we're going to be continuing to talk about all of this. Don't forget to tune in to the latest edition of After the Call. It'll be my maiden voyage, and that's happening at around 6 p.m. Eastern Time when the Nvidia call wraps.